Alright, what is going on, guys? My name is Leon Master. Welcome back to another Overwatch League video, and today, guys, I'm bringing you guys another top 10, and this top 10 is underrated players. Previously, we had 10 players that need to get traded, and this one is top 10 players that are underrated in the Overwatch League. And before we go on, I do want to say so many underrated players in this season of Overwatch League. So this one is my list of my opinion. You guys can have your list down below in the comments as well. I streamed this and it looked like everyone also had the same opinions as me with some players that are very underrated. So I think we're going to go ahead and talk about my top 10. We will have an honorable mention as well. Keep in mind, it's all my opinion because I think all these players are super underrated or almost not underrated, and people are starting to look at them a little bit more. To start off our number 10 spot, though, number 10 is going to be Dalton on the Vancouver Titans. Now, I know some people may be surprised by this one, but the reason I'm putting Dalton on my list is because Dalton's crazy. He is absolutely insane on the Vancouver Titans, and he's getting no praise for it. No one's talking about how good he is, and respectfully, so Shockwave's getting all of it. Because as soon as Shockwave came in, he really kind of saved the Vancouver Titans. I gotta say that. I 100% understand why everyone's talking about Shockwave, but I feel like people also gotta look at Dalton. Dalton does so much, especially on the Tracer when he plays his games. Dalton just shreds in the games he does. You know, obviously they may not win games, but what Dalton does is just crazy Tracer plays, and no one looks at it because obviously they're not winning that many games. Or if there's a winnable game, Dalton's crazy, but no one really looks at him. No one really talks about him that much. Hopefully people will start talking about Dalton in the next upcoming weeks and months, and maybe Dalton will get more praise. He's very good. I always thought he was Overwatch League level back in Contenders, and I knew he was going to be a bright spot on this team. Now on to number 9, another Vancouver Titans player, and this one is going to be KSA. Just like with Dalton, Shockwave's getting all the love. I 100%, I get it though. Shockwave definitely deserves it. KSA though, you know, obviously it's a rough start at the beginning, you know, especially me. I thought he was the worst off tank in the league. Obviously the main reason is because he had bad ping issues and they didn't have all their stuff sorted out. Now that they're getting their stuff sorted out a little bit, looking like a team, KSA is very good, especially on the Sigma these past couple of days. KSA all around, I bet as soon as he gets off that ping, KSA is going to be a top off tank for sure, but right now he definitely needs all the love. Right now people need to be talking about KSA, especially on the ping he has. It's crazy. So KSA is definitely a super underrated player. I know some people were hyping him up coming into this season when he got on the Vancouver Titans. I didn't really see him play that much in the past, but now he's really showing himself this season. More people need to talk about him, and that's also my fault for not seeing how good he was earlier these past month or two. Now he's good. You got a stamp of approval from me. Some people that told me to stop doubting him. He's very good. He's very underrated. People need to talk about him a little bit more. Now on to number 8. It is Sanguinar on the London Spitfire. Now I know a lot of people are now starting to figure out how good Sanguinar is, and we've always known Sanguinar was like a super underrated player since the beginning of the season, and people are still not talking about him, surprisingly, but some people are. I know I see some of you guys on my Discord talking about how good he is. Sanguinar just surprised everyone, and he's still very underrated, super good, and hopefully he has more conversations with the top main supports in the league, like Animo, and then you also have Moth and all of them. I hopefully he gets more conversations with them. Sanguinar, I wouldn't say he's at that top level yet, but he's really close to it. Sanguinar has a lot of potential, and maybe if he gets traded to a different team, which I don't know if that's going to happen next season, Sanguinar is always going to be great, and he came from like a T3, T4 team, something like that, Gen S or something like that. He came from a super unknown team, and now he's on a London Spitfire Overwatch League roster, and he's destroying it all on the Spitfire. Now in the number 7, this player gets way too much hate, and it makes sense, but it is Crimzo on the Dallas field. And the reason why I said it makes sense because the field fans don't really see how support players play. Crimzo, at the start of the season, yes, very shaky. But as time has gone on, Crimzo has been improved so much, and he pops off in his games, especially on the Zen. He gets like a triple kill almost every game, feels like, and his healing is out of this world. And Crimzo's stats-wise is very high up there when it comes to his healing stats as well. I think Crimzo needs more love than he's getting right now. If anything, he's actually a bright spot on the Dallas field roster than what people are saying. He's very good. I feel like Fuel fans are just hating just to hate, which I get it as well. That's just how Fuel fans are. Crimzo's very good, and he deserves more love, especially because his Zen's really good, and his On has been alright this season. I wouldn't say the best, but all around, everything is good for Crimzo. Even his BAP has been very good for the team. Now on to number 6, a new player that people are hating on because of them losing games. And number 6 is going to be Paintbrush, also on the Dallas Fuel. The Dallas Fuel support line is also very underrated. It seems like a lot of people are hating Paintbrush as soon as they lost their game, and everyone's always going to blame Paintbrush as soon as they lose, no matter what. I've seen that as a tradition now. Every time Dallas loses, they're going to blame it on Paintbrush, which I don't get it. A new player, 3 games in, people are already saying Closer is better, which I get the argument why. But if you look at it, Paintbrush has played 3 games, Closer has played all of Season 2 and half of Season 3. So obviously people are going to be more comfortable with Closer than Paintbrush, but I gotta say, this is just my opinion, but I think Paintbrush is better than Closer. If you look at it, his Brig gameplay is better, his BAP is just way better, even though Paintbrush's BAP's not the best, it's better than Closer's, and Paintbrush's Lucio is going to be potentially better than Closer's. So that's the chances here with the whole Lucio argument. But Paintbrush all around is better. And also, it's what the Dallas Fuel fans have been asking for. Someone to calm in game a lot, be a leader. That's Paintbrush. They've even said that on multiple interviews, and Paintbrush says that himself on stream. It's someone the Fuel fans wanted on Dallas, and they got him, which is Paintbrush. And I feel like that is perfect on the team. He's very underrated, and I feel like if people looked at him more, especially his Brig's been massive this past game they played, and with the Brig meta still playing, hopefully those Brig nerfs won't mess everything up. But Paintbrush is still good. People need to be watching him a little bit more, and just analyze it a little bit better. You know, he's very good. I don't think he deserves any of the hate he's got on him right now. Now to number 5. I think I talked about my tier list, about my main tank tier list, who I said is very good, and people were kind of surprised how high I put him up. It is Dreamer on the LA Valiant. Dreamer has been super underrated this season because obviously you have players like KSP, Shax, and McGravy who are really good on the LA Valiant, but Dreamer is getting no love. I feel like people are not acknowledging Dreamer at all when LA Valiant play. Dreamer does a lot to set up the DPS players of pools, and just how perfect his cooldown usage is. He has great shield placements. His Dreamer is very good. He also pushes in with the team very well. I know that probably seems like a weird thing to say, but some tanks have a hard time pushing into their team. Dreamer does a good job of that, and he sets up everything very well for their DPS players, McGravy as well. Dreamer is very underrated, and I feel like a lot of people need to watch him a little bit more. Now on to number 4. It is Rio on the Guangzhou charge. Now, this player has been interesting as well this season. What I mean by that is some people acknowledge he's good, and a lot of people just don't acknowledge him at all. But I feel like Rio needs also a lot more love. I'm going to say about all these players, because all these underrated players get a lot of hate. It seems like just don't be acknowledged, and I feel like these players I'm listing need that. And Rio really needs that. He's been one of the best main tanks in the APAC region, and I bet if they're playing all together, he'll be one of the best main tanks as well. And Rio definitely deserves it. His Orisa is really good, and him coordinating with his team, you can see it as well. Rio's been very underrated this season. Now on to number 3, another player on the LA Valiant. It is Rain. Now I think a lot of people from last season were very used to saying Rain was bad, because when Rain did play on the Florida Mayhem, it was not good. Now Rain coming in the LA Valiant now, I don't know what Packington did. I don't know what the coaching staff did to Rain, but they made Rain a monster on the main sport, especially the Lucio early this season, and he's doing good now. Rain's an absolute monster when he plays with the LA Valiant. You can see a total difference from Florida Man to LA Valiant. He's all around a super good main sport. No one's talking about him because I feel like more people need to talk about him. We obviously think of KSP and Shax pretty quick. We don't think about Rain or anyone else for the Dreamer. Rain definitely needs a lot of love because how good is Lucio, his Brig, everything's so good with Rain. And he's super underrated, and a lot of people need to talk about him a little bit more. Now on to number 2. I feel like this one may be a shocker to some people, but number 2 is going to be Karkar. Now, when coming into the season, I said Karkar was going to be a bright spot. And his first game, 2 games I should say, were not the best for Karkar, but you can also blame that on the team not being the team just yet, being in the Overwatch League. Now that Karkar is warmed up, the whole team's warmed up, people are still ignoring Karkar and still saying he's not the best, which I don't get that argument. Karkar's still insanely good, great shot caller as well, and he plays all the main sports at a very high level. And now that the team's getting situated, Karkar's going to look even better in maybe the next couple months and weeks, these next couple of games. Karkar deserves way more love right now. He's still getting hate. Sad to see. I want to see more people talking about Karkar because he definitely is very good, super underrated of a player. Now on to the honorable mentions, and the honorable mention is only going to be 1. There's multiple players I could talk about for honorable mention. I just wanted to bring it down to 1. And the one I'm going to talk about is Lastro on the LA Valiant. Kind of like Rain, some people, including myself, knew how good Lastro was going to come into the season, and it still blows my mind. I'm going to talk about it all the time. The LA Valiant was only looking at Lastro. That was the only AL team looking at him. But hey, they got a good off-sport who can hang with the top off-sport players like Jonak, like Violet, Twilight. He can handle with them. You may not see it, but he definitely can, because Lastro's just very talented on all the off sports. His Zen's nasty. We rarely get to see it though. His Moira's pretty good. Also, it's very hard to watch, Moira players be good, but he's very good on the Moira. And his Ana is out of this world too. More people need to look at Lasher and talk about him. I know some people are talking about him. Some aren't though. Majority of it's not, because like I said before, KSP, Shax, they'll get the love, but the supports have a hard time getting love in the Overwatch League. Now on to number 1. Some people may have forgot about this player. I see no one talking about this player at all. And me just non-stop watching the VODs on this team. London Spitfire, Aldo. Now I know this one may be a shocker to some people. Some people may have forgot this guy was on the roster, which I kind of did at some points. But Aldo is absolutely nutty on the London Spitfire. I know it's very hard for Aldo to look good when you have a team of Babel and Glister at the DPS lineup, and so it's going to be very hard for Aldo to play and shine how good he is. His Echo's great. His Tracer, I like his Tracer. It's very different from compared to other Tracers. Some Tracers go in, get kills fast, but he plays very different, very passive, very annoying of a Tracer. Shoots, leaves, and then that person he was shooting kind of backs up, and they're kind of scared. He goes in for the kill, then he goes with his team. He's very different of a Tracer player, and I like that from Aldo. I think Aldo's very underrated. I see literally no one talking about him. It's crazy. I feel like more people need to watch Aldo a little bit more, because as soon as I started watching Aldo a lot, I knew something was very special about Aldo, and I feel like he'll do great things in the future, but it's very hard for him to do that when you have a team Glister and Babel. Anyways, guys, what is your guys' top 10 or underrated players? I know when I was streaming, talking about some of you guys said Doha. I totally get it. There's a lot of players you guys listed. Who is your top 10, or at least name 1 or 2? You don't have to do a whole list. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it from the top 10 underrated players. The next one I'm thinking about is doing Underwhelming, who we all thought were going to do good, but kind of just dropped the ball this season. I want to do that one, stream, talk about your guys' opinions. Don't forget to join my Discord down below. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitter and my Twitch, and don't forget to hit that bell, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.